So lucky for you, in this video, I'm gonna break down my signature 3-part process on how to share amazing stories that always get people so curious about what you're about to share that they watch till the very end. And you gotta keep in mind, storytelling is one of the main reasons how and why people actually connect with you emotionally. They're curious about what's gonna happen, they want to know more, they wanna know basically the climax and the end, the same reason why people actually watch movies and TV shows. So let's just get right into it. If you guys don't know me, my name is Sabah Lee, and I built a multi-6-figure business in my 20s by building a personal brand on social media, and how I did that was by sharing stories on social media. Okay, so the first thing I want to cover is my 3-part story system of, once again, how to share a really good story. And how I'm actually going to explain this and break this down, I'm going to use movies as an example. And so my 3-part story system looks a little bit like this. You have the old you, you have the transformational you, and then you have the new you. So in every good story, there is basically a before of the character. So in movies, there is kind of a before. Maybe they're at like a low point in their life, in their journey. Maybe they just went through a heartbreak. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe they are, kind of lost, and soon to identify they have actually superpowers that is going to change their entire life. But like at every single movie, there's kind of like a down point and a low point and an old version of the main character. So for you, when you're sharing stories, you want to identify an old version of you that basically is going to connect with the current version of your audience and your ideal client right now. And I know a lot of you guys are business owners, course creators, coaches, entrepreneurs, and you want to learn how to use stories to actually attract buyers. Well, lucky for you, the old version of you is probably the version your ideal client is right now. So when you can pinpoint the old version of you, it's much more likely you're going to be hooking and reeling them in, because they're experiencing what you experienced way back then. And then we go into the transformational you. So once again, in every single movie, there is a turning point where either, the main character identifies and talks to someone that changes the trajectory of their life. Maybe they come across like a quote on a bus that they see walking down the street, or maybe it's simple as they're just in their bedroom crying out their eyes, and they make a decision at that moment that they're changing their life. There's always basically a climax to a story where someone makes a change that puts them on the path of the new self, right? So for you, there might be somewhere in your story where you were just so tired of the old version of yourself. Maybe you're so tired of being broke. Maybe you're so tired of, just living for everybody else, but not for you. Like there was something that you did or someone that guided you to the path that you're now currently at, which is like the new version of you, right? And once again, in movies, this is basically where it's like the hero at the end, they find the love of their life, they get the new job, or maybe they finally gain the confidence that they've been searching for the past like 5 to 10 years, right? The new version is basically who you are right now. So when you look at the signature system, you have the old you, the transformational you, and the new you. This is basically following the path of any good story, of any good movie, of any good character, because once again, people get connected by where they're currently at right now, and basically they're curious of what's going to happen to get them to the point of like desire, goal, and solution land. Now, another level to this system in sharing really good stories is not just sharing facts, but really focusing on emotion. Now, one question my clients and people in my audience always ask me is, okay, I want to share stories, but I don't really know what to actually share. One thing I always talk about is look at your past timeline. Okay, look at the past 5 years, even the past year, and think about different emotions you felt within the past 5 years. What were peak emotions? What were low emotions? Because let's be honest, we always remember really high and low days, because that's what's really, once again, connected to us is our emotions. So when we can pick out high emotion or low emotion moments, memories, and experiences, those make the best stories. So one story I always share with you guys is when I used to live at my dad's house going through a breakup, I was literally at the lowest moment in my life. And what I really had to do was change my entire identity, change my perspective. I started to create content on social media. And my turning point was when I actually met one of my mentors who guided me into my business and the business that I have today. Okay, and now the new version of me lives in sunny Florida, met the love of her life, built a multi-six-figure business, creating videos for you guys like this. Like, everybody has a story. So you want to think about not just like the rags to riches story and not just one story you can share to your audience, but what are the real emotions you felt? This, once again, makes or breaks a really good story. Now, the other thing I want to mention is when you're sharing a story, you really want to reference how the ideal client, how the audience, how the watcher may be feeling as well. And I'm going to screen share and show you guys one of my content pieces that shared a story really, really well that connected to my audience. But before I do that, I want you guys to think about the moments, like the movies, the characters that really resonate with you. There are high emotions or very low emotions, okay? I was never that big of a Marvel fan, but Andy got me into Marvel. And when I watched the final Avengers, the Endgame, and when Iron Man died, like that moment just crushed me. Like I was in tears. And I know every other Marvel fan was too, but it was because it was such a high emotion, right? So the same thing, it's like if you want to share stories and if you want to have an audience and a brand on social media where people are just so like deeply connected to what you're doing, you want to evoke emotion inside of them. And in order to evoke emotion inside of them, you need to first evoke emotion by sharing stories that you had high emotion inside of. Okay, and this is the difference. This is the difference between people who are just on social media sharing facts, maybe even sharing stories, but it's not really resonating and hitting with people, versus people who share stories and all of a sudden they go viral. All of a sudden they get hundreds of new followers. All of a sudden they get all of these clients because there's a deep rooted emotion and connection inside of them. So what I want to do now is actually show you guys one of my Instagram reels that I didn't make, honestly, not too long ago, about a month ago, and it got a lot of attraction. I got a lot of new followers, a lot of clients, a lot of comments, and I want to show you what I did to really hook and reel them in. Okay, so this is a reel that I made that really, really attracted, honestly, a lot of new followers on my Instagram, got a lot of comments, a lot of people reaching out, and even some clients. And what I'm gonna do is break down basically what I said talking in the actual reel, and then we're also going to go through the caption, because if you're posting on Instagram and TikTok like short form videos, you basically have two ways that you can share a story. You can share it verbally if you're talking to camera, and then you can also share it in the caption. So let's first watch the reel, and then I'm going to break down basically what I did to hook people in.
The reason why content feels so effortless for a lot of people on social media, but not for you, is because they actually have a real content strategy and you don't. And what you probably do is wake up, pull up your Instagram, think about, oh, I need to post something, and then randomly post something with B-roll text and then hope it works and makes you money. When in reality, what you really should be doing is understanding what type of content actually gets the most amount of reach, gets you in front of the right type of people, and actually turns your viewers, followers into real-time buyers. And of course, if you have a personal brand that really illustrates who you are, what you do, how you can help people, it is much, much, much easier to actually get people to buy your offers from the first reel that they watch. And if you want my full content strategy of how I make money on every single reel I post, comment below.
Okay, so you guys can see I really hooked them in. Now, for me, of course, my brand is all about helping people build their unforgettable life by being their own boss. And when I help people be their own boss, I'm helping them make their own stream of income, their own business. And that starts with building a personal brand, which also stems from creating really good content. So I know it's really hard sometimes for people to create content. So I actually have 3 hooks in this piece of content. I have a verbal hook, the one that I'm saying, the reason why content feels so effortless for most people but not for you is because they have a content strategy and you don't. That's one hook. Another hook is I have a text hook on the actual reel that says, why content looks effortless for most people, but not for you. It's basically the same hook, but what you want to keep in mind, sometimes people aren't actually listening to videos, they're just watching. And then the third hook is the caption hook, okay? Honestly, it's really discouraging when you post content day after day without getting any attraction or sales, okay? That's really hitting on emotion, okay? It's like you see everybody else creating content and it feels so effortless for them, but like, why not for you? It's like you feel bad. It's like, oh my gosh, I want it to feel that way for me too. What do I do? Okay, that's hooking people in. It's really focusing on emotion. And then I go into basically talking about this is the content strategy. You need a personal brand, X, Y, and Z. Now, where I really talk about the story in this specific post is the caption, okay? Because what I say is, now most people will think it's them and that's why they aren't getting reach or buyers, but in reality, they have zero strategy. I learned this when I spent the first 8 months of my business creating content, but not making any sales from it. Okay, so that's basically the old version of me. Remember we talked about old, transformational, new. Old version of me, I spent the first 8 months of my business creating content with no buyers until after I learned what type of content actually attracts my ideal clients and makes them buy. That was the transformational moment. I had to learn. I had to focus on investing. I had to learn on gaining more knowledge. I had to learn on understanding psychology and sales that actually gets people to me. And content not only became easier to create, but it was more fun because I made money from it, right? And now this is like the new me, where I can create content effortlessly that actually attracts me clients. If you want my interim content strategy that includes exactly what to post, comment below, right? And that's basically the call to action to actually get followers in, to get buyers in. And you can see like I got tons and tons and tons of comments for this specific reel. Now, I wanted to share that specific example because once again, I know a lot of you guys don't just want to share stories. You don't just want followers. You want to build an impactful audience. You actually want to make money with your followers. So if you know how to create content like that, where you're speaking to emotions, you're really speaking to how your ideal client, how your audience is really feeling, it is so much easier for you to gain the right type of followers and actually get the right type of buyers because you're focusing on emotions. And so many of my clients have gone from not even knowing how to share stories to sharing stories and all of a sudden attracting clients out of nowhere. And this is something that I cover inside of Monetize Social Membership. So if you guys are not inside of it, I basically show you my A to Z process on how to build a 6-figure business with your personal brand by selling products on social media. So make sure to join us. It's in the link in the description. Now, if you guys want me to do a second video on how to create really good hooks in your content, comment below and let me know, because I gotta say, I'm a pro at creating hooks and it's by far one of the most important things when it comes to content, because if you can't hook them in, they're not gonna even watch or read in the first place. So that's all for today. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are on the journey of reaching 100,000 subscribers and I want you guys to be a part of the fam. So I'll catch you guys later, and until then, make sure that you stay unforgettable.